Hey guys, welcome to the Shakedown Live. This is going to be my new second channel for pretty much anything other than my more produced videos on the main channel. This is mainly just like a spot for me to chat about what I thought about the race weekend or the rally weekend, or really anything outside of those little video essays that I do on the Shakedown itself. So if you like the stuff, stick around. If you like the opinions, or have your own opinions you want to share, like, comment, just don't be too mean about it. Go easy on me. But with that being said, let's dive right into it. And we're starting with a pretty big one this weekend. Honestly, I'm recording this on a Wednesday, and the rally's been over for a few days now, and I'm still thinking about it. And obviously I'm referring to that of Oliver Solberg's momentous win in Rally Estonia. This is something that I don't think anyone really predicted. We'd all hoped that he'd put in some pretty strong results on his return to Rally 1, but I don't know if I heard of anyone talking about it in a sense of maybe more than a few stage wins, if that, So, to win his first stage on Saturday morning and go on to take a stranglehold of the lead for the rest of the rally is such a strong achievement and strong work from Oliver Solberg and Elliot Edmondson, and one that is hugely redeeming after his tough time at Hyundai a few years back, and honestly a result that rally fans all around the world resonate with. Obviously, being the son of a world champion himself, people always had high hopes for the kid, and getting your one chance to really shine this year, he really took it by the reins and showed how strong he can be on a rally stage. And over the whole weekend, really, claiming his first win, Toyota's 100th win, becoming the 10th driver to win on debut with a new team, is nothing short of really just an amazing result. Now, I'm a bit unfamiliar with driver contacts in rally. I don't fully understand how drivers are able to get hold of a seat or any of the politics behind it or anything like that, as I'm fairly new to the sport, watching it attentively and keeping track of the whole championship. But with that being said, come on. A result like this doesn't come every once in a while, and Oliver and Elliot really showed just how ready they are to take the step up into Rally 1. And I'd assume some of the other drivers who maybe aren't performing as well would be a bit worried, or if he can get an extra seat with an extra car, or if Sebastian were to retire from part-time rally, there is someone ready to step up and really shine, hopefully. Again, I don't really know. Estonia also saw the first lead change in the championship, I think all year, which is insane. After so many months of Elfyn Evans leading, Oyt Tanak has now claimed the championship by just 1 point. His first time leading since 2023, really bringing the fight to Elfyn, who has seemingly struggled opening the roads and then being able to come back and fight for rally wins since I believe Kenya. And it wasn't through lack of trying from Oyt's part. He's been putting in some pretty good results, a fair few P2s in the time where Sebastian Ogier has been getting victories and really chipping away at the lead, and this is a result of that. Hopefully he'll be able to put in a strong fight. Hopefully they'll both be able to put in a strong fight, as they'll both be 1 and 2 opening the roads on Fridays and Saturdays from now on. Oyt would also have a pretty tough time fighting for that second place in Estonia after he made a few silly mistakes chasing after Oliver. He really got caught in the hands of Thierry, with the pair going on to fight for P2 for the rest of the rally, and the position would switch back and forth throughout the weekend. To me, this was probably the most exciting aspect of the weekend, apart from the story surrounding Oliver and Elliot's first win. So it was a pretty fun fight to see. There was a cryptic team order put in place, basically stating, don't fight too hard, you still got to take the car across the line at the end of the day, which I feel like kind of messed with the drivers in a way. I don't know, I guess messing up the vibe, but it's not an overly outrageous thing for a team principal or a team to ask for. And I think Neuville kind of struggled with it from then on. With Sunday morning, he struggled on the first stage, and then afterwards getting the 10-second penalty, which I'm still a bit on the ropes about, but ultimately that's not my decision. Overall, he didn't lose out entirely. He still finished third, but it really put a stop to his fight with Oit for second, really. Kelly's weekend was also a bit confusing to me, in a way. It wasn't the worst weekend, but he's obviously having trouble connecting with the car and really getting it to that ability to fight for the lead. Really just like missing 1 or 2 steps from really being in the mix. It's not a weekend of complete negatives for Calais. Obviously, he was the fastest Toyota outside of Oliver, the fastest full-time Toyota, I should say. But obviously, if he's not feeling comfortable with the car in Estonia, it kind of spells doubt for Finland in the coming weeks. But from what I've gathered from interviews and Kalle Rovanpera's approach to the weekend, it seemed more like it got to a point where they were just throwing setups at the wall to see what would work. So hopefully they've found something that he's a bit more comfortable with. Obviously he got the fastest time on the power stage at the end of the rally. So hopefully he can, coming into Finland, start with a stronger foot forward and at least be in the mix for fighting it at his home rally, a rally he hasn't actually won at before. Obviously we've seen his attempts at the rally before, and I think last year was a very heartbreaking watch. So hopefully he can have a chance to really get in the mix and fight next rally. Heading further down the list, it seems like a lot of the drivers had a similar issue. Either mechanical issues on the first day really halting their advance, or not being ready for the huge amount of commitment that a fast gravel rally needs, heading from slower rallies in the past couple of weeks. Elfyn Evans was struggling on the first day, opening the road again, but ultimately couldn't really fight for anything in the end, and was lucky to get 6th after Taka had his mechanical issues on the last day. Formo also talked about struggling to get on pace on the first day, but getting up to speed throughout the rest of the rally. And I believe Sammy had a handbrake issue on the first day, a sticky handbrake, which was a shame because I wanted to see how good he'd do on a fast gravel rally, it being similar roads to his home as well. But hopefully they've gotten on top of those issues and can fight for it in a couple of weeks in Finland. Especially because it looks like he's been learning pretty much all season. It'd be good to see him put some actual pace into the car and bring the fight to some people on roads that he's more familiar at. And heading towards Ford, the M Sport Cruise, it seemed like it was mostly the same, with either a mechanical issue for Gregoire or a switch in attitude for Josh McAlean. It just seemed like they weren't able to get on the pace too much, except for Martin Sesks, and that showed through him being the strongest out of the 3 Fords, but also he wasn't able to make a dent into the Toyotas or the Hyundais. The Fords were really in their own lane again. But at least this time they had a clean weekend, not something we could say for really any of the past rallies, especially for Martin Sesks, who's been having a pretty tough time of it. He was able to really flex his muscles and, have some fun on these gravel roads, akin to Latvia and Finland that he had a lot of fun at last year. I kind of wish I could see a bit more, but, I'm happy to give a little bit of leeway. He's still fairly new to the sport, Rally 1, and he's been having a pretty tough time of it for the rest of the season. But yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to say about this rally. It was a great watch, and I really recommend, if you haven't seen the highlights, to go check them out. And I'm really excited to see what happens in Finland. Hopefully all the drivers that were struggling to get acclaimed with the faster rally, that they'll be able to start with their stronger foot forward and give us a good showing from the starting line. But yeah, that's all I had to say about that. If you had some other opinions, or if I missed anything that you guys wanted to talk about, go put them in the comments below. And if you like this, leave a like, subscribe for a few more in the future, hopefully. And if you need to see more rally content or motorsport content, go check out the main channel, the Shakedown. I'll leave a link to it somewhere, hopefully. See you next time.